Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CSGO Clutch Podcast. My name is Adam Code. I am your host. Joining me by the returning Dan Welch. Dan was off having escapade after escapade. He thinks he's Indiana Jones. Dan, what's going on? Did you find the River of the Lost Ark or whatever treasure you were looking for?
I did not, but that is a great way to put it. I grilled some steaks.
I love it while looking aggressively at your brackets.
Exactly. Yeah, staring at my brackets.
Uh,
But the good news is, Adam, two of them are live.
Ooh,
and
you got
one of them depends. One of them depends on Iowa winning everything, and the other one depends on Loyola Chicago going to the championship. So,
talk about some crazy bracket formats right there.
Not very likely.
Anyway, on to the CSGO. We had an interesting slate of games on this past slate. And here is the winning lineup. Treed09, solo takedown of the $5,000. Congrats, Treed09. Right. He had a three-man gambit stack. Yeah, absolutely, congratulations. 3-man gambit stack. 2-man Cloud9 stack. Dan's boy art.
Dude, 90.5. I didn't even know. I didn't play.
Yeah, congrats, Art. 90.5 DK points. Unreal. 46 and 26. He was plus 20. I didn't see that coming. I didn't see that coming at all. I also see a familiar face, a friend of ours, Mr. Dan, over there in third place. Shout out, Pappy.
Oh, yeah, good for him.
Pappy over here with third place. Well, we know him. So let's take a look at his lineup. It was pretty much a 2v2 off the winning lineup. So the winning lineup had Harbit, Art, Zeppa, Floppy, Shiro, and Exile. Pappy had Captain Art with K Serrato, Zeppa, Floppy, Shiro, and Exile. The difference being 12.25 points, if I did my math quickly and correctly. Pappy taking down $1,000 here in third place. Congrats, Pappy. And I mean, 1.8% Captain Art. Ended up at 135.75 DK points. Pretty good, but it definitely looks like you needed Hobbit. I mean, it was really 1v1. It was K Serrato over Hobbit, and that was the difference maker. Still, it was a great strategy trying to captain a low-owned Art. Completely 17.7% low-owned, 135.75 captain points. Actually outscored Captain Hobbit. But at the end of the day, K Serrato at 76 points versus whatever Hobbit was in Flex just didn't get there.
Yeah. Now, he couldn't fit Hobbit, or he could have.
I mean, both lineups had Art. It was just a matter of he wanted to go 2-2-2, which is completely viable strategy, especially on the 3-game slate. Strategy I really like. The winning lineup had a 3-2-1. Also, completely viable strategy for a 3-game slate. This just happened to be Hobbit probably ended up having more points in the flex. He had 89 points in the flex versus K Serrato that had 76 points in the flex. So, great lineup, great strategies. Second place here had Captain Shiro, so correct. It was the correct lineup, except it was just a matter of putting Hobbit over Shiro in the captain spot. So congrats to Candace 5 for the $1,500 takedown. Congrats to Pappy for the $1,000 takedown, and congrats again to Treed09 for the $5,000 solo takedown. Looking at this lineup, I don't know if you played today, Dan. Is there anything that you would have done different, or now looking at this and like for me, my lineup? I'm glad to show everybody. I had a 3-2-1, except my 3-2-1 was with Cloud9. Because I'm going to continue to pick on Team 1. I had Zeppa as the captain. 124.5 DK points. You love to see that. Love to see that in your captain spot. I decided my 2 Furia combo with the 2 apparently that didn't do as well was Yuri and Junior. 52 and 50 points. That's not getting it done. Mezzi. I said this, Dan, yesterday as my bold call. I said you would need Mezzi to win a GPP. I was wrong. That's okay. $9,000. He was low owned. He was 14.6% owned. 55, 14, and 45, and a 4K. with 6 first kills for 64 DK points. You like to see that out of 14.6 zone players. $9,000, he needed a little more.
Yep.
I also had Esatag, who, from other people I've seen post in different Discords, just crushed a lot of lineups. And I had Nafani. I was actually looking at a 2v2. I was looking at an Alex and Axile versus Esatag and Nafani. I just went for Esatag and Nafani. I thought Esatag was just an overall better player and better oppa than Maluki. And that was wrong. So yeah, I mean, Maluki's a good opera, but I think Esatag as a player is better. You don't make it to Astralis without being a great player. Thoughts on my lineup?
I mean, I totally could see myself doing the same thing. And I only played the late slate, and I had Yuri and Junior, so that's kind of it screwed me out of getting too high. Like I think I doubled up my money, but it wasn't pretty.
Doubling up's never a bad thing. It's just like
No,
when looking back, if I had more lineups, would I probably have had some art in there? Sure. Art was never my first choice. This was an art stealing game. I'm happy for him. Would I have wanted to get the Hobbit? Sure. Would I have wanted to get the Exile? Sure. I originally had Shiro, but I decided I wanted to go. Let me go 3-2-1. So looking back, probably should have went more on Gambit, but again against Navi, it's like, I kind of was just hoping Cloud9 after what we saw out of them versus Gambit and what we saw out of them. I think it was versus Fear. Who else did they face? It was who? It was Gambit and Navi. And what we saw out of them, taking both of them to 3 maps, I would have thought they would have just, with the way they were looking, should have just breezed right through Team 1. They had a bad overpass, which was their map pick, and they took train from Team 1. It wasn't looking good. I think at one point, Cloud9 were down like 8-1 on overpass. It was not pretty. So,
yeah.
It is what it is. I still like my strategy. But, yeah, I mean, 3 Gambit versus a heavy hitter on Na'Vi. Not exactly super low owned, but I'm surprised Hobbit was this low owned. I'm really surprised he was that low owned. But with that being said, we'll take that, we'll learn from it, and we're going to move on to this slate.
Let's do it.
Team 1 versus Gambit. Dan?
Gambit. Yeah,
Thank you. You literally just summed up the entire game.
Move on. Next. No, I guess
Navi versus MIB. Yeah, no, but we'll talk about this real quick. Fade Team 1. All of Gambit are in play. Anything else?
I mean, I would like to say one thing about Shiro, that Shiro's in a good spot to go off, unless we see an Exile and Hobbit day. So I would say it's like either or for me.
I think it's another Hobbit day, but I think a day you need a Hobbit and Shiro day, and you have to make the rest of the lineup work. I think those can be 2 of the highest point players on the slate. Would it surprise me if we're done with the slate tomorrow and Shiro goes 45-20, Hobbit goes like 40-25, or some crazy stat line like that?
It certainly wouldn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, the only one I'm not really high on in this matchup is Inters.
Yeah.
I would play the first. I play Shiro, Hobbit, Axel, and Nafani in that order over Inters. I think Inters is fine if you're MMEing. He's just. I think Inters is more the support player for this team. He is not a high fragger. He's a good player for them. He's not a high fragger. So let's take a look. So over the last 10 series, he's averaging 55.8 DK points. 41 DK points, 50 DK points, 43 DK points. I mean, his stat lines are okay, but they're nothing that's going to win you a GPP.
Right. Especially for that price.
I do want to call attention if people are going to look down. Oh, but Adam, what about this 93 points? That was versus Virtus Pro in a best of 5 in the IEM Katowice Grand Final. You're looking at that, I think they've got to, 4 maps? Before Gambit put it away? So just keep that in mind. That 93 was
Yeah,
not on a best of 3. That was on a best of 5. Different point scores you're looking for on a best of 5. But like even before that, in the rest of the Katowice one, 57, 54, 63. Those you love to see at the those price tags 54, 52, and 50 and 5,000. But then like he can just disappear, and it's just like he's 6,400. You want near 50 to 60 plus points out of him, ideally 60 plus.
yeah.
So make a decision what you all want to do with inters on this slate. If you're mass multi-entering and you want to take a couple shots on team one, I'm okay with it. I just I'm gonna continue to pick on team one.
Yeah, I feel like Mobs is really coming out of his shell. Maybe that's a good one off.
I don't mind it. If I'd really pick a one off from this team, I think it's Pesadello.
Okay.
Um, uh, I would say Maluki 2, Mulbs 3, but I really don't want to pick someone going up against Shiro. And
Okay.
quite frankly, with how the rest of this team has looked. But I think Pesadello's look pretty good. I wouldn't mind a Pesadello one off. But I gotta say, Maluki at 46, Skulls at 4,000 are dirt cheap.
Is Team One out now? Are they? They
They
have no
should pretty
chance.
much be out of contention. They're 0-3.
And then
Anything
Gambit
can
has it.
happen. Like when Gambit, I think Gambit 2 beats them 2-0. That should knock Team One out of the group in terms of getting to the playoffs.
It's
As a
interesting.
team, their gameplay is good. It's not elite, but it's good, and they'll only get better with this roster.
Oh hell yeah, yeah. No, it's just sometimes these are like those weird matches where nothing's really on the line, and I'm not saying motivation isn't a factor. Just you know,
They want to make a statement. I mean, I'm saying, in my opinion, your time to make your statement was against MIBR.
okay.
And have they faced MIBR yet? I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, they have.
Gambit. Yeah.
No, Team One.
Oh.
Um. So all right, we spent enough time on
Oh,
this
I
game.
see. We're talking about. You're talking about T1. I'm talking about Gambit.
Yeah, no, I'm
Okay,
talking Team One. Like they had their chance to make their noise against MIBR.
I got you.
I
Yeah.
think
No, I hear you.
the rest of the teams are too strong. But with that being said, next game we spent enough time on that game. With all due respect to Team One and Gambit,
Hmm.
Navi versus MIBR, and I'm calling my upset of the day. MIBR upsets Navi 2-1.
I am with you, Adam, and I would encourage other people to do the same thing. Um, you know, what's your logic?
Navi from a team gameplay standpoint. I'm not talking stats because we've seen Perfecto have good maps. We've seen Electronic go off. We've seen Simple off and on. We saw Flamey have a good map. Just their team gameplay right now is not looking good. It's not. I think they were up 13-5 against Furia on Nuke. You would think 3 rounds. It's Navi, that firepower. Furia won that game, 16-14, I think, for that map.
Yep,
Just
no, I know what you meant.
I don't know what to do with this team. Simple's $10,000. I'm playing Shiro and Hobbit over Simple. And if Simple's gonna be 70% owned, I'm taking whatever ownership I get on Shiro and Hobbit, which might be 70% combined.
Yeah.
For me, it's more of an eye test standpoint. Their team gameplay looks off. Something looks wrong.
Now, are we employing a good DFS strategy? I mean, what do you think other people will fall into that?
I think it's
That
I think it's name category, dude. Navi's on the slate. Simple Electronic are on the slate. Jam them in.
Mm.
More simple than Electronic. I just think the name value. Kind of like if you were playing any other DFS sport, right? Like if I were to tell you, I'm just trying to pick something here. Let's just say a pitcher in baseball has name value, right? Let's just say Adam Wainwright.
Okay.
People may play him purely based on name value. Joey Votto may be another good example. He was starting to tail off over the last couple of years. Still Joey Votto. He has name value. You have the respect for the player. Should still be able to do good. It's the name value and recognition. So for us as DFS players, when we're looking at Navi and how they've been the last couple games, can they turn it around here against MIBR? Absolutely. Can they go out, just dominate MIBR? 100%. And probably 7 times out of 10, Navi should win this matchup. I think MIBR win 2-1. Now, with that being said, as we know in DFS, even if you win a game, your players may not be optimal for the optimal lineup.
Right.
If Simple goes out there and goes 70-40, and Navi lose, Simple's optimal. If Electronic goes 60-40 or 60-45 at $8,800 and Navi lose, Electronic could be optimal. Perfecto at 8,000.
Too much.
He's about $1,000 too expensive.
That's a fade.
Pass.
100%.
Boomage at 7,000. Too
Fade.
expensive. Pass. And once again, I'm not playing Bitter Flaming.
No.
I'm not dealing with the substitute risk. If Bit started playing full time, and Flamey was benched, or just they decided to play with him for a game as a test, and we knew ahead of time Bit was playing heavy map, I like Bit as a player. He's got potential. $6,000 I think is about the right price a Bit, but I would actually like him in the 5,000 range. So I think everyone's a little overpriced with the exception of Electronic and Simple. Simple's recent gameplay does not warrant $10,000.
Yeah, no, I agree. Which also kind of speaks to that most people will gravitate to Simple and Electronic just because of the pricing and and the name value, like you said.
Yep.
So I take it back. I think that they will be extremely chalky.
I mean, like, let me put it to you this way: if you didn't watch any of the games, if you didn't look at any stats, if I were to tell you Navi are going up against MIBR, this current iteration of MIBR, no, not the old one that was early last year that had Fallen and Taco and Fur and all these other players and KNGV and all these other players, that one, even against the one we saw at the end of the year with KNGV and VSM and Lucas One and who were some of the players on that team?
I can't remember. That was too many months ago.
Well, I mean, like when you have a KNGV-led team that looked really, really good overall,
yep.
That would be more menacing. With all due respect to the core 4 of the Boom roster, it's still the core 4 of the Boom roster. They've gotten better. Their gameplay has taken it up to the next level, as they were basically, brought up into the MIBR organization, which is a prestigious organization. Like, Furia and MIBR are the top 2 Brazilian organizations in professional Counter-Strike, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%.
And MIBR has had a long-standing respect. It's just this iteration of MIBR. If I were to tell you Navi versus this iteration of MIBR, you're not looking at stats. You haven't watched any gameplay. What would be the first thing you would think? I'm playing Simple, I'm playing Electronic, I'm playing Perfecto, I'm playing Boomage, and just go. And you're shoving in as many as you can, right?
Yeah, they're going to crush them. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
So for us here, like, we're talking to you guys, like, we try and watch some of the games. The best we can, everything else going on. Like, we watch them, we do our research, we're showing you all the stats, we're telling you what we think, from, like, getting in a Counter-Strike and playing and playing on a team. Team gameplay is important. something looks off with their team gameplay right now. So are these other factors that we as DFS players need to consider before I go, yeah, I'm just gonna lock simple, I'm gonna lock electronic, and I'm gonna pick one of these other guys, and I'm just gonna go.
It's a feeling, right?
Right.
I mean, and we've been in these situations before, and we've felt the pain of not fading Navi in these situations, and
I
or at
felt
least
it when
I
simple
have.
went off. When simple had his
Or
ceiling game, I faded him.
yeah,
But I made it
or
back
right
on
or
several other slates by fading him. So it's a balancing act. I will say this. Electronic is my favorite play on Navi.
right now, yeah.
No, for this slate.
Oh, for this, okay, yeah, even that too. Yep.
He's played really well against some teams lately. And you and I were talking pre-show. Let's take a look at the stats. Look at this. Cloud9, 68, I'm sorry, 63, 18, and 56. With the 4K, he had 70 DK points at 8,000. You love to see that at that price.
Mm-hmm.
Furia, again, that was the game they had issues. 49 and 45, 45 DK points. That didn't help you. Against Gambit, where they lost 2-1, and this was this past slate, 76, 18, and 64. He had 78 DK points at $8,000. You love to see that.
Perfect.
I think Electronic is the best play from Navi on this slate. If we take a look at Simple's stuff versus Cloud9 was when he had 120,
That was insane.
123 DK points. Because this is what Simple can do. All right, he had 88 kills, 16 assists, 43 deaths, 13 first kills. Only 13 Simple with 88 kills. Only 13? I'm kidding. 2 4Ks. At 10,200, he had 123 DK points. You weren't cashing without Simple.
No.
Maybe. Furia, 43, 10, and 32 at 9,600, 63 points. He was still positive. 63 points at $9,600 was not getting it done. Versus Gambit, 56, 20, and 71 with a
Thanks.
1v2 clutch. 43 DK points at 9,400. Like, we just have to look at the stats and what we see from the eye test. And again, you're right. It's a gut feeling. I don't think Simple's going to do well in this slate. He could totally go off again for another 80 and 40 game if he really wanted to. He's that good. That's why he's the second best player in Counter-Strike. Some would argue he's the first best player in Counter-Strike. What do you think?
I have a. I mean, I. It takes some big cojones to fade simple on any slate, and
100%. 100%.
so that's why I think like maybe this is a good hedge situation where if you are playing multiple, like even I might play multiple single entries just because of this, where I try to have one or two where I fade simple because I know the ownership is going to be so high and I can get some serious leverage, and then
As
because
opposed
you
to
know
like
what
what
it's
I would do. So you're saying you would enter like, let's say you enter, and I'm just throwing these out there. You would enter $1 single entry, a $3 single entry, a $5 single entry, and you're talking about playing like 3 different iterations of lineups.
exactly, yeah,
Okay.
exactly,
Whereas like for me as a large field GPP player, or just a GPP player in general, I like my single entries, my 3 maxes, my 20 maxes. I love the $1 20 max on DK for Counter Strike. It's a fun GPP. And I also like the large field one. So like for me, I would employ that strategy by just doing 3 lineups in a bigger tournament. You're
yep,
trying to go and cash in a single entry to have, it's more even. Because everyone has to be very picky what they do with their lineups. And if Simple busts in a single entry, you don't have them. Let's just say you have Shiro, and Shiro does better. Those other players only have one entry. It's not like they have 149 more other ones out there.
exactly, yeah. Yeah, that hedge theory can, or I guess philosophy can pay off. I mean, you do risk losing whatever your entry fees are for the other ones. But if you double up in that one, or even if you take it down, um, that's going to more than cover your losses. So
Exactly.
I do that once in a while, and it does work. But
Yep.
it's not my favorite. I like to have one lineup typically, and just enter as many as I can get in, and let it fly. Because there's nothing better than seeing every single one of your lineups like either cashing or in first, or that's top 10. Um,
Love seeing all
you
the
know,
lineups in first place.
yeah, that doesn't happen very often. But you know what I'm saying.
I do. And that's why I just wanted to make sure that we were explaining to the folks your version on that strategy, because some players might be, well, why is he playing multiple single entries if he's playing just like one lineup? You're hedging in a different way based on the kind of contest you're playing, as opposed to like what I would do if I would have put three lineups in the $10 and go, I'm playing three lineups in one contest, you're playing three different lineups in multiple contests, trying to cover different bases and still only competing against players that each can only play one lineup. I'd be playing three lineups out of 150, facing people that are literally playing 150 lineups or multiple lineups for that matter. So I just want to make sure we were explaining it right for the folks listening.
Yeah, it's I mean, contest selection actually can have an impact too. Like if you look towards
100%.
the end of it, towards the as you're getting closer to the lock, like sometimes they don't even fill. And I know that's not a big secret or anything, but some of the showdowns, even those single entry showdowns,
Mm-hmm.
they don't fill all the time, and I'll sneak in there and 50. No, sometimes it's 50% overlay, which is
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Yep. All right. So we spent enough time talking about Navi, but I did think it was important. I do think it was important. Did yada yada. I did think it
Gotcha.
was important for us to talk about Navi and their recent gameplay, what we've seen out of 3 games of them in this tournament, and to really help everyone else that's listening to really understand like how you and I are thinking. Make sense?
Yep, I like
Let's
it.
let's talk about MIBR. Cello's at 7,200, SHZ is at 6,600, and Bolt's at 5,800. Yell the Opera for MIBR is at 4,800, and Dinoco's at 4,200. I don't think I'm gonna get cute. Now, I have to. I think all of us have to make a decision on this slate, and I'm gonna put this out there. I am currently thinking for a build. I want to go 3 Gambit, 2 MIBR, and one of either Fury and Cloud9. And quite frankly, I haven't seen pricing yet, so I'm doing this live with you all out there, live with you, Dan, and trying to figure out where I want to go. I'm thinking 2 MIBR, because I think that last game is going to be really close. And I would just how Fury are constantly flip flop. I don't know who would be left over for Sally and everything else, so I wouldn't mind 2 MIBR, but I can also see like a Cello one off, a SHZ one off, a Bolt. I'm not really a fan of Bolt's Yellow Dinoco. I think for MIBR, until I see something different, it's just Cello and SHZ for me.
I'm never playing Yell again.
Yellow was
Oh,
on the winning lineup, I think, when you
I
played him.
lost.
For what it's worth, I think.
I had him a captain. That's why.
Oh, well, again, we live, we learn, we get better as DFS players by reviewing our lineups.
Yep,
What do you like from MIBR?
Cello, Shiz. I mean, those guys are great. Like Cello's, his first kill rate was like out of control. I mean,
Let's take a look.
like, and that bonus right there is enough for me.
Oh, I see what you're saying. He had 15 versus Gambit, 16 versus Team One, only 3 versus Furia, but they kind of got crushed by
Yeah,
Furia. But I
Art
I see what you're
took all
saying.
the first kill.
But I mean, like, look, he
Yeah,
had 92 points against Team One.
yeah, that was crazy.
Cello's great.
I couldn't believe it. That was like the only scenario that could happen is if Cello went completely crazy. I not gonna
I played
was I
Cello
not
on
gonna
that
cash?
slate. I played Cello on that slate, and you needed a Shuz captain to
Yeah,
win.
yeah,
All right, so
so painful.
so you agree it's just Cello and Shuz for you?
Yeah, Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I could. I know after what I just said, I could probably squeeze in a yell just for the price.
I'd rather squeeze in a bolts first if I was MMEing, but I think like if you're
Yeah,
doing a single entry and you want to pivot, play one or two of cello and shiz.
yeah,
Because again,
they're so good.
I am going to continue to pick on Team One. I apologize to Team One. I'm going to continue to pick on them for DFS purposes. I want 2 to 3 Gambit. It depends how I can fit. So, with that being said, anything else on this game?
No, no,
All right.
I'm good.
I'll be really interested to see how much I can fit of Gambit in a lineup and see what salary's left over. But maybe we'll find some salary relief in our last game. Furia versus Cloud9. As soon as DK wants to work with me, I can click the right spot. I clicked the right spot. Let's do it. Furia, Cloud9, 1:30 Eastern Time. K Serrato's $9,200. Yuri's $8,200. Your boy Art is $7,400. Junior's still hilariously underpriced at $6,400. Vinny is priced at $5,400. Talk to me about Furia on the slate.
This makes it tough. I mean, Case Rattle's a little too expensive. Yuri has not been performing, and that's usually where he like has a ceiling game. Art is like perfectly priced. Junior, I'm a little worried about because I think Art's taking up all the opping duties, and Vinny is a perfect spot too. So Art and Vinny, again, I just can't not do
So
it for those
so
prices.
Art is when they're on CT side, he's usually the one picking up the double op.
Right, that's a
He's
good point.
usually the double opera player, and he gets so aggressive with the op, so aggressive.
It's a shotgun for him. I'm telling you.
He uses it like a shotgun. Shotguns, for what it's worth, are very tough to use in Counter Strike.
Yeah, it's actually pretty accurate if you don't scope in. Like a no scope op is not horribly inaccurate on your
See,
first shot.
see, I've been using it in aimbots. I've been just like trying to, mess around with the no scope. It can be all over the place unless you're at close range.
Yeah,
Um,
okay. That's a
but like you
good
have to be
point.
really quick on the scope shot because the one thing when you're an opper, it's not like a rifle where you can get multiple shots off. You shoot and there's like a 1 to 2 second reload, maybe 3 seconds before you could go and fire another shot. So,
Yeah.
a little bit of Counter Strike there for you. I don't mind Art in this slate at 7,400 versus Cloud9. I think Art could give them fits.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Who,
The thing about this C9 roster is they've seen Fury a few times. Or even on different teams. So, sometimes these North American teams can be a lot closer than what they look like on paper too, just because they have they're used to each other's tendencies.
True.
Um,
I will just point out this Cloud9 roster is no longer part of the North American scene.
yeah, good point.
Because ever since Henry G basically had a roster reset, I mean Floppy's still from North America, Zeppis from North America. It's now a European roster. But you're right, so there is like Zeppis played against Furia multiple times when he was part of Chaos. Floppy's played
Mm-hmm.
against Furia many times as part of Cloud9 when they were a North American team.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a little bit of a playbook there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's to your point. I definitely think Cloud9 could exploit that. If you had to rank your favorite players from Furia, this should just be a game or a standing segment every time Furia is on the slate. Rank your favorite players.
I mean, Art one, Vinny two.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Uh,
whoa, 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 whoa. Art
oh
one,
wait, what? Yeah,
go to your
absolutely.
room. Go to your room. Look at your brackets. Think about what you just said. Ranking Art one over Case Serrato and Yuri. How dare you? I actually
Dude,
don't mind the call at all.
Art is he's such a G. Like I don't know. I just like to watch him, and you know, like I've said before, the announcers always get pretty high on him, so I can't help but get on the train.
uh,
Um, But
I
I do.
don't
I mean,
mind it.
if you have watched him, you know you can appreciate his style.
If there was an award for most aggressive Counter-Strike player, Art would be a perennial contender.
Yeah, yeah,
He's so aggressive as a player and as an in-game excuse me, as an in-game leader. I actually don't mind it at one. It's just like, do you remember when Henny was a part of this team? And we would be
yeah.
trying to guess which of K Serrato, Yuri, and Henny. Pick one and hope you're right.
I know it sucked.
Well, we're down to two. K Serrato and Yuri. Pick one and hope you're right.
Yeah.
I think this could be a Yuri day for what it's worth. I think his
Mm,
gameplay
don't
versus.
say that. Don't say that. Oh my god.
Well, I mean, just like gameplay wise, I mean, I can see a nuke, I can see an Inferno, I could see an Overpass, but probably gonna see Overpass pick from Cloud9 unless it's because I know Furia permabans Mirage. I'm still not a fan of that map. Um,
Yeah.
you know, maybe we see Furia pick a Dust 2. I mean, I think the map pool for these guys are pretty good. Let's see if we can figure this out. Let's go over here to matches on hltv.org. Let's go. Matches, Cloud9 Furia. Alright, excuse
Yeah,
me.
I
So we
thought
got.
Fury played. I thought they liked Mirage sometimes, or they wouldn't ban it.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Cloud Nine.
Furia permabans Dust 2, not Mirage. Other way around. Sorry. Cloud9 bans Mirage. Furia bans Dust 2. My bad.
There you go.
Right. Fear Love pick a Mirage. That's my bad. I knew it was one of the dusty maps. So
They're right next to each other too.
yeah. So Cloud9 permabans Mirage. Furia permabans Dust 2. If I were Cloud9, take advantage of it and pick Vertigo. Fury have not played this in the last 3 months. I know you have a 33% win rate on it. Play a map on it.
But they have 0, 0, 0, 0.
This is over the last 3 months. No maps played.
That's a good point. I like that.
I mean, now, with that being said, I think Cloud9 pick Overpass. They got a 73% win rate. They've played it 11 times. Fury has played it 5 times and it has a 40% win rate. So I can easily see a Cloud9 picking Overpass. I think that's kind of obvious, like Team 1 love pick and train. I don't know where Fury would want to go. Would they want to go to Nuke? Would they want to go to an Inferno? Maybe they pick a train? I mean, like, if you were Fury, what would you pick?
I mean, I would probably stick with Inferno just because of it requires some serious team coordination,
Yeah.
which they have because they've been together for so long. Where it might be questionable about Cloud9.
Yeah.
And they're so good at it. It's and then we get Vinny.
You just want to play Vinny for Vinferno.
Hell yeah.
So just be aware, we're not going to see Mirage, we're not going to see Dust 2, we're probably not going to see Vertigo. We'll probably see Overpass, and we're going to see one of Inferno Nuke. We're going to see two of Inferno Nuke or Train. Let's get back to it.
I hope it's Vertigo. I really do. I think that was a really good observation.
I mean, that's if Cloud9 want to do that. They may want to just go, you know what? Let's just stick with Overpass. We're really good on it. We know where everything is. We know how good our comms are. Let's just stick with Overpass and crush them.
Yeah.
All right, on the Cloud9 side of things, anything else you want to talk about for Furia? Everyone's in play?
Yeah, everyone's in play, for
Agreed.
sure. I mean, K-Serrato and Yuri, a little expensive, but still.
I'm probably not getting a K-Serrato or Yuri, to be honest, if I'm just going to load up on Gambit. I'm just not going to, I'm probably not going to have the salary for it. Now, Art at 7,400, I mean, you have me liking him as the favorite play from Furia. Grr!
I mean, that's his sweet spot right there, 7,400. I mean,
it's a good price tag,
especially against Cloud9.
Yep. All right, Cloud9, talk to me.
Yeah, I mean,
That good, huh?
I mean,
Yeah.
we were playing Fury up against Navi, so I don't think that like all of a sudden Cloud9 is gonna be someone that can just take him out. I mean, but the
I
pricing on Alex and Floppy are so low that it's almost it's
I
definitely workable.
I don't mind a one-off floppy at all. He's looked really
Yeah,
good.
yeah, it's Floppy. I mean,
Hmm.
we've been watching him for a while now, and he's good.
We
So,
we know he's a super talented young kid. We know this.
yep.
Um. All right.
So
I
those are the two. I think that's all I would go to. Maybe Zeppa, but probably not.
It's Zepper and Floppy for me. Floppy one, Zepper two.
Okay.
I think Fury win this, but I think they win 2-1. Cloud9, this team actually has a chance to really do something special. I really do think that. Cloud9 are looking really good from a gameplay standpoint. They're getting better. Yeah, they're a new team. They just added Zeppa. Like this. There's a massive amount of potential here for the Colossus. All
Yeah.
right, give me one core play, one value play, one GPP play, and your favorite cocktail. No, I'm kidding. One, one core play, one value play, one GPP play.
Okay. Core is going to be Art. Value is going to be Vinny. GPP is going to be. Oh, can I do a simple Anshiro
No,
combo
you
where
cannot.
that's my?
No, it's fine. You can do
But
that.
yeah, either one in captain, but and then
Oh,
try to squeeze
okay.
everyone else in.
Raising the stakes. I like it. All right. Core play for me on this slate is Hobbit. Second core play for me on this slate is Shiro. Only because it's a 1A, 1B situation for me for core plays. I'm not
Yeah.
getting cute on this slate. Value play for me. One thing we kind of sort of didn't talk about, to be honest, as I stopped moving my screen around, um, is Floppy. 5,200 is just, it's way too low for him. If you want another lower value play, I'll give you Junior and I'll give you Esatag and Pesiato.
Okay.
GPP play is Zeppa, Yuri, Queserado, Electronic.
Wow. That's four.
I'll
That's almost
give
a
you
lineup
four.
there, Adam.
Listen, I used to do blog posts. I used to write down how many. All right, Dan. Favorite team stack, and give
Team
me a bold prediction.
team stack gonna go with Gamut. And bold prediction MIBR 2 O's Navi, even though that's not totally
Ooh.
bold, but
Still bold.
you know,
Still Navi. Still
it's,
respect. My favorite
exactly.
team stack is also Gambit. This is no surprise to anybody. Is how much I've been talking up Gambit on the slate. And my bold prediction. Hobbit's going to go for 150 plus in the captain spot.
Nice. I like that.
And that's very bold because I don't think we've seen that out of him yet. But I think he
Nope.
just runs right through Team 1.
Okay.
So at the very least, I think you're going to need Hobbit to win a GPP. And he's 9,400. With Shiro, Simple, Caser, Electronic all around him, I really wonder what his ownership's going to actually end up coming in at. All right, that is it for us. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. And Dan, any final thoughts on this slate?
No, have fun. We got a break on Tuesday, so this is a good one to get some in.
Excellent. You can follow Dan on
Thanks, Adam.
Twitter at WanDelch. You can follow me on Twitter at AdamWX21. And we will see you for the Wednesday main slate. Like Dan said, no Tier 1 Counter-Strike. Well, at the very least, no ESL Pro League. On Tuesday, they have a day off. And Wednesday is going to feature the final day of Group C. And then we're going to get into Group D! I'm very
Thank
excited for
God.
Group D! With that being said, good luck. Have fun on the slate. Latest, peoples.
Good night.